everyone, it's Elizabeth Stephenson with New Direction Family Law, where we believe with change comes empowerment. And we're here today to talk about decluttering after divorce and separation. And I have someone who's just fantastic to help folks in doing that. And we were talking, it's Dorena Kohrs, and we were talking previously about what's your title? And we were sort of, professional organizer doesn't do you justice at all. So sort of give us some idea of what you do.
By trade, I am a professional organizer, but about 6 months ago, I really started having some I'm just feeling uncomfortable about that. And what I realized is, as I've been doing this for a number of years, is that organizing is actually that way to help people keep stuff. Right. So if I put all of your stuff neatly and tidy it, you can keep it because it has a home. And right. That's the professional organizer's mantra. If it has a home, you can keep it. And I don't want people to keep the stuff that feels self-limiting or really brings sorrow or sadness. I want them to let go of that. So I am a space doula. And the way space doula came about was I was talking to my son's karate teacher. And he asked what I did, and I said that I help women in that transition period and help them as they're untangling from a relationship to really our outer world reflects our inner world and to be able to have their space reflect them. So it's really untangling from their belongings from this past relationship. And he said, oh, you're a space doula.
Ah, there you go.
And I went home and I thought, like, yes, I Googled doula, and it's a woman who supports another woman in a time of transition to give birth to new ideas, new dreams.
Well, that nails it right on the head, I think. Yeah,
that's where that came from.
So we deal with families and people going through separation and divorce, and a lot of times the stuff gets in the way of helping them move forward and helping the case move forward. And so they put a lot of emotion into those things that really is about the relationship and not about the things. So do you encounter that also?
Absolutely. That is the biggest reason why people don't let go of things. It's that attachment. We attached a meaning, a story to our things. So it's not just a mug. This is the mug that my husband gave me on this day, and then this happened, and now we're,
look where we are. Yeah.
Right. So it becomes, or I was speaking with a woman the other day who was recently divorced. Actually, she was separated for years and hadn't divorced yet, and had literally had a storage unit of stuffed animals for her children, and they were grown.
I can say the same thing.
And so we talked about how that was a time, her identity was in being a mom. Right. That's where she found where she really shined, So it's like, without these stuffed animals, I'm not a mom.
Right.
And
so
that's
who
not,
am I?
Right. So who am I? And that's not so,
Right.
You are a beautiful, wonderful person, regardless of what you do and what you have.
Right.
And so that's really the message that
you help. Yeah, another part is that, separation and divorce is such a loss, so that, you sort of want to gather all your comfort stuff around you because you've lost a whole lot of the rest of your life and your history and your identity and your future, so that you cling to what you have.
Absolutely. I was talking to one client, and we were going through her things, and she had this fabric, and she was telling me she had been divorced, it was from her honeymoon. And she was from like Sri Lanka, and she was like this beautiful fabric. And she's like, well, I'm gonna make yoga cushions with it. And I was like, really? You're gonna make yoga cushions out of this fabric that you got on your honeymoon, and now you and your spouse are, divorced? And she's like, well, no, not really. But anyhow, everything we came across was something from her wedding or something from her divorce that she didn't want to let go of. So I finally said to her, what does it mean to you to be divorced? And she said, it means I'm in a state of lack. That I don't have the financial resources that I did. Things are harder. Right. So she was clinging to those things from her marriage as a reminder of what it was like. But at the same time, that was the very thing that was holding her back. Right. So when you can let go of that, it is amazing. I've had so many people who, when they're actually able to let go, like, so much comes back
to you. Yeah.
But you've got to make that space.
Yeah. When you work with folks going through separation and divorce, I have a lot of issues a lot of times with the house where that's where we got, we've been there a while, that's where we raised our children, I can see the kids' marks on the doorway where how tall they are. So, but a lot of times folks can't keep that house, and they'll have to sell it and downsize or move. So that's a big thing. Do you help folks with that piece, or is it chunking it down to the little part and then moving outward?
It's, it really is decluttering that space and realizing that you can be happy anywhere.
Right.
It's that so many times people move thinking, I'm going to be happier when I move. It's just, but you go.
You just take the rest
you,
of it.
right, you go
Take
too.
it with you, right.
So a lot of times, what I really do with my clients is help them set a vision.
Okay.
And that's what draws them forward.
Mm-hmm.
So one woman, I'm like, what is it that you really want to do? Like, what is that thing that you haven't done? That dream.
Right.
And for her, it was raising rescue dogs. And she couldn't do that in this house that she had. And so I'm like, okay, well, let's talk about where you can do that.
Right.
And so let's really nurture that dream and that vision.
Mm-hmm.
So, the first step's going to be decluttering,
Mm-hmm.
and that might be the house.
Right.
But if you can picture that next place you're going to be,
Mm-hmm.
like the scary thing is when you don't know what that is.
Right. Because you're just like a cliff that you're getting ready to jump off, and you have nothing there, you think, to catch you.
Right.
Right?
But, realtors will take you to go look at houses, So go, start dreaming about where would feel really good.
Right.
Like, if you had your druthers, where would that be? And then start looking. And then when you can be inspired by that, the letting go piece
Is a little
so much easier.
And then getting the real, I can dream that in my mind, but if I'm actually going out and seeing places and going into them and feeling the space, that gives me more confidence,
Right.
I think, too, to let go.
And then you can start getting excited
I
about
know. It's like,
something
ooh,
new.
I can paint it here. I can put where I want. Do what I want.
And especially in a situation where there is a divorce, like how many of us decorate your house because you have to compromise?
Right.
Like,
Mhm.
and this is a time where you don't have to compromise.
Right.
Like, this is going to be your space. So you don't have to worry about his stuff or her stuff, clogging things up. Like, you get to pick what you want.
Right. And that's a great spin on it, I think, to say you have so much to live for and there's so much more ahead of you. Your past doesn't really define you. So let's move forward.
There's a quote by Glennon Doyle Melton recently said, she published the book Love Warrior back, I think, this fall.
Mm-hmm.
And she writes in it, I am not my past choice, but I am that next choice.
Right. Yeah, I'm consciously making this choice going
Right,
forward.
you have a new choice.
Right. And take some responsibility for that.
Right.
All right, so we've separated. We're going to sell the house, but we've got all the stuff we have to divide.
Right.
So have you ever worked with both parties, or is it generally, you work with one partner or spouse or the other and sort of go through and help them organize and let go and divide up? What are some things? So what is some advice you can do for folks?
It somewhat depends upon the relationship between the two parties. Right. Ideally in this really harmonious world,
Yes.
which is not always. I realize that. I one where it wasn't. But if you have a space where you can talk through, I kind of have his, hers, and theirs.
Okay, that's a great starting point.
And so that's really easy. Hers, her stuff goes to her, his stuff goes to him.
Right.
And then you have the their stuff. The their stuff for me, and this you could do, that you don't even need to do together.
Right, yeah,
obvious, right?
Right.
But the their stuff, I always say things in the bloodline should stay. I had, if there was something from your great grandmother, you should keep that.
Right.
Don't fight over that. Right. But then that's when ideally you could talk about through those things, those together things. I guess the question I have for you though is how is that whole distribution of property? Like legally, what does that look like?
Well, legally, it's sort of like you, in the best of all worlds, everybody's entitled to 50% of the assets and the debts. But what does that 50% look like? Dividing the retirement, you get half, I get half. Dividing the house, you get half the equity, I get half the equity. But I have, I've had like blender, the mixers.
Vitamix.
Yeah, those big mixers, and it's like, one party wants it, the other one wants it, and it's worth $500. But they don't want the value, they want the thing. And so if you want to keep it, then you've got to trade off that value into something else. So a lot of times it's first, I ask my client to go through the house and make a list of what, in an ideal world, what you want to keep. And then think about, is it worth fighting over and spending $5,000 extra in attorney's fees and going to court over something that really doesn't have any value and it really doesn't have much emotional attachment for you? A lot of times it's just, I don't want the other person to have it.
Right, that's what like I
Yeah.
will say is don't fight over things out
Right.
of spite. Like
Right.
don't want something out of spite. And so if there's a, you know, it sounds like if somebody were to say, okay, I don't want the Vitamix, I don't want the whatever, you
Whatever
know,
it is, right.
the cookware,
Right.
I don't want to fight over that. And so they're not really getting 50% of the household items.
Right.
Is there another way, like, can
Well,
you up the, you know, percentage of the house?
Right, let's say that they keep 5,000, you know, if, quite frankly, if you're gonna fight over it, the court's gonna put, a yard sale value on it. So it even gets, you know, less value, but let's say it's worth $5,000, and whoever's keeping the property is gonna owe the other party 20, you know, half of that value, so they could get more out of the equity of the house, more out of the checking account to balance that out. So it's not like there are 10 things we're gonna divide 50-50. You may keep 9 of them and I keep 1, but you're gonna give me that value in some other way, whether it's, you know, more retirement or more cash or something like that, in that respect.
I think it's like a valuable point of like, you could spend a lot of money on attorney's fees.
Yes, you
Or,
can.
you know, even I've had clients like, we're going through gift bags. I'm like, the amount we're spending on going through gift bags, we can go to the dollar store and I'll buy new ones.
Right, and sometimes, you know, when people are just going through, starting out in a divorce, it really is like a death. So they've sort of they've got to grieve in their own time and their own way, and sometimes you take 2 steps forward and 2 back. So you just got to let the process work.
Right.
And it has to be their decision at the end of the day.
And what I always find is that, you know, you clear a little bit, and it's just amazing what opens up and how good you feel, but it's layers.
Right.
You know, and then you might come back to it, it's like, oh, well, I really don't want this now.
Right.
There's another
As I
layer.
think about it, yeah, I really want to keep that.
Yeah, so it's really staying centered, and for me, and what I always tell my clients is, how do you feel about that?
Right.
How does that belonging make you feel? I've been divorced for 17, almost 18 years now, and I just, the other day, we had this ceramic fish vase that we got, and I loved it, but I never used it.
Right.
And every time I went in the closet to put flowers in, I always grabbed something else. But I'm like, oh no, I really like this. And then I really had to ask myself, I had to be very thoughtful and intentional. Why aren't you using it?
Right.
Like,
Right. There has to be a reason for that.
Because it reminds me of, you know, the day we got that. And it's not where I am
really
anymore.
want to do that. Right.
So I called him up and I'm like, hey, remember the fish vase? He's like, oh my gosh, I love it. I'm like,
Would you like it?
Here you go. Here you
I
go.
love
So
that.
there's, you know, sometimes it does take a long time.
It does, but people eventually, I think, they'll get through it, and that's the hard part. Is you feel if you're in the middle of it, realizing that you get to the other side is kind of hard sometimes.
It is. And that's I think where the vision comes in, and surrounding yourself. You know, and that's where that space doula part comes from. Because really, what I do is hold people's hand, hold the space for them, because it's a painful time.
It is.
You know, it's not like, you know, it's very emotional.
Right. So do you see a difference between you work with men and women?
Predominantly women,
Right.
but you know sometimes men too. You know, and it's I guess you kind of think that men let go of things.
That's what I was.
easier,
Yeah, sort of that year. You know what you think, but not necessarily.
but not
true.
necessarily. Yeah, it's more the person.
Right. Right. So what about kids? Like a lot of times it comes up like kids' artwork and you know photographs are sort of easy now because here you make a copy, put it on a thumb drive and give it to me. But the artwork. You know, I've got big stacks of it. I can't imagine how I would do that.
Well, so divorced or not divorced,
I know.
I actually advise people not to keep all that.
Oh, really?
Not to get rid of it, but there is actually a company, you can do it yourself, or there's a company called Keepsy.
Oh, really?
And you could take, this is actually on my to-do list because I have the same thing, boxes of the handprints and
Right,
whatnot.
exactly.
You can just send them all of that. They will photograph it and they will put it in a book.
Oh no, that's
And
great.
so you can both parties can have that.
Right.
Because if you're moving, you know, do you really want to keep all of this? And then, like, what we often don't realize is we store stuff. In your mind, you have a picture of what it's like, right? The condition it's in, but then you put it away.
Mm-hmm.
But, it's kind of like if you haven't seen a friend for a long time, you haven't seen their kids.
Right.
And their kids, it's been 10 years and you see their kids, but in your mind they're still 5, right? Well, this is the same thing with your belongings when you put them away, or those memories. You know, that like when you take them back out, they're either scratched or they're, it's just not quite as
the same
pristine as you remembered it to be.
Right.
So taking the pictures and having in a book
That
is actually,
is a great idea.
yeah.
So tell me what you do. It's like if somebody comes to you and says, "Help me," are there certain stages, or does everybody get the same thing? Is it you take each person where they are and figure out what they need help with most?
Yeah, it's really where somebody's at, and sometimes they don't know where they're at.
Right.
You know, so I walked into one client's home, and she had actually decluttered all of her ex's stuff. Like, we didn't think there was anything in there. You know, she was like, "Oh yeah, get rid of everything." In the back of my mind, I was really thinking like, "Why'd you call me?" You know?
Right.
And so the first thing she said is, "My kids don't know why I called you." And I was like, "Okay." But as we started going through her space, so we all sit and have a conversation.
Okay.
About those hopes and those dreams and where you're at.
Right.
And as we went through her home, we found stuff that oftentimes you turn off your feelings, right?
Mm-hmm.
So things are painful, so it's
So
easier
you
not to
have to
feel.
feel with them, right?
So a lot of times we don't feel in our space. We don't feel what our space feels like. You can be walking past that fish vase,
Right.
and just subconsciously it's whispering to you,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't see it anymore.
Right.
That was with her.
Oh.
There was a painting on the wall, and so a lot of what I do becomes intuitive, and it didn't quite fit in. I was just like, "Tell me about the painting. What is that?" And she said, "Oh, that was my ex's. It's a picture where he honeymooned with his first wife." And I was like,
Well.
"Can we take it down? Can we?" And so those are the kinds of things, we immediately took it down and out the door.
Right.
So it's really walking through somebody's space,
Nice.
and I can do that virtually or I can do that in person.
Oh, I thought about that. Yeah.
So a lot of times we'll work with FaceTime. I have some clients on the other side of the country, and so we will walk through it, and we will really declutter it. And a lot of times it's really just having somebody there with you. Like, I went through my wedding album not so long ago. I called my mom. I said, "Mom, will you come sit with me while I do this?"
Right.
It's just
having that support and.
it's just somebody saying, "Do you really need that?" Just to, again, so that you're thoughtful.
Right.
Because a lot of times we have a knee-jerk reaction.
Right. So, what do you say to folks that go, "I don't, space, doulas, feng shui, that's all voodoo."
Right.
That are very, detailed and very type A personality. Can you still help them in a way?
I was, so I had a client who I thought, so I do some space clearing. So that does sound more like voodoo. It does sound more, it's much more on an energetic side.
Right.
And I kind of meet somebody where they're at.
Okay.
And so in her home, there was a space where her ex-husband was involved in things he shouldn't have been involved in, and it felt like she could feel it. It felt heavy.
Right.
And so we did. We prayed over that space. And so I don't know if she knew really what to expect or not to expect. But I got a text from her a couple nights ago, like, "Oh my gosh, thank you so much.
Aww.
I met the man of my dreams."
No.
I was like,
You're welcome.
Swear to God.
Yeah, I think if you open, and I'm an attorney and I'm very analytical, and here are the facts and that sort of thing. But I think it all comes back. Karma's a beautiful thing. What goes around comes around, and when you open yourself up and you open your space up, it helps me help my clients, because it lets them sort of work on that issue, and then they can come to me prepared to go forward and make good decisions and not be mired in the emotion of it all in a way.
Right, and it's, so did she meet this other person because we cleared her space, or is it because she started feeling good about herself?
Right.
She was dating somebody else, and it becomes therapy, so I got to her home to do some decluttering, and she's like, "We need to sit and have coffee first." I was like, "Okay." And so she's telling me, and this was in the midst of it. And it's like, "Well, wait, you're attracting the same kind of person."
Right.
So we talked through that. I've led divorce care support groups, so
that's great.
I've worked with a lot of women in that whole process. And so a lot of times when we don't let go of something, we attract the same thing. So this whole process is really, whether it's physical stuff or people.
Right.
Expectations. Like, you thought you were having happily ever after.
Oh, sorry. And you may, hopefully again, but not now.
Let's change that vision.
That's great. So tell folks how they can get in contact with you if they need your help.
So you can go to my website, which is DorenaKohrs.com. It's DorenaKohrs.com. And there's ways that you can work with me, whether it's a consultation.
Okay.
Sometimes that's all it is. Sometimes
Right.
it's an hour of me coming into your space, and really, it's another set of eyes. And just helping you dream a little bit.
Right.
Sometimes we do vision boards. Sometimes we play and we make a giant board and we cut out magazine pictures of that home that you would love.
That's a great idea.
You know, that's what helped me, was just every day remembering who I was again.
Right.
Because you get lost. You get lost in
Yourself.
marriage
Right.
and kids and all of that.
Right.
And then the other thing I have on my website, it's called the 8 Blocks to Decluttering. And that will walk you through, it's a video series.
Oh, okay.
So you can sign up and receive that.
That is great.
And that will tell you, because sometimes intuitively you know you need to declutter,
Right.
you know it's going to feel good,
Right.
but you can't.
Yeah, it's just taking that first step, you know. And I
Right.
think having you in someone's home, standing beside them, sort of gives them that extra push. And yes, it's okay. We're going to be okay. And
It's
I'm going to help you.
permission. Right. It's giving some
to do that.
permission.
To that. Well, Dorena, thank you so much for joining us today. And I hope that everybody, I know it's really hard. It's your stuff and it's your life and it's your feeling and your emotions are tied up in that personal property and in that home. But letting go, as Dorena talked about, can open yourself up to having a better life and a new direction. And that's what we believe here at New Direction Family Law. So we'll see you next time. Thanks. Bye.